Hello my YouTube friends! When it comes to remote live streaming, there used to be only one game in town, and that was the YOLO box. But that's about to change. OBSBOT has a new thing, and it's called the Talent. It has pretty much all the same features, and it's less expensive. I'm going to show you how this works today, and you're not going to believe it. You definitely want to stick around and check it out. So you know what? Let's get to it! Now, I've done videos on the OBSBOT cameras, in particular the tail air in the past, and I'm just going to tell you that this thing sets those up perfectly. It's the perfect accompaniment to those cameras. So if you love those cameras, you're definitely going to love this. And the price, well, it ain't bad either. There are links in the description to the OBSBOT Talent, so you can check it out and pick it up for yourself if you like. Let me show you how this works. This is the box that the OBSBOT Talent comes in, and it's a very nice package. And this is the unit once it's all put together. So let's explore this a little bit. On the back here, you've got a center fan. These are very cool. You can see that this is a standalone unit that doesn't actually need any power. These are pretty common batteries that are used in lights and that sort of stuff. So you can just use batteries to power this. But it also comes with these really cool little stands that will press in and allow you to set it up like that. Now if we go here to the bottom, you can see we've got a network input. You've got a screw so you could put it on a tripod, which is also really nice. You have USB-C out, and of course you can power an input right here instead of using the batteries. Then you have an SD card that you can save all your video to if you like. On this side, we've got a microphone input, we've got headphone input, USB-A, and of course, a power button right here. And on the other side, we have two HDMIs and another USB port. So we can basically add 3 cameras on this side and 1 camera on this side. You can see it takes all different types of cameras and stuff. So these 2 screws that you see right here on either side hold on this awesome sun visor. Because you could be using this thing anywhere, and that little sun visor will keep the sun off the screen, make it easier to see when you're out and about. And the whole purpose of this unit is to be able to put together incredible live streams from anywhere. Let's go ahead and plug the unit in and turn it on. We'll get a good look at what this thing can do. So when we first get our unit, this is what it's going to look like. And we're going to go ahead and click the arrow here. We're going to select our language. It gives us our device name. We can click next. And then you just have to agree to the stuff, the terms. And then it's going to bring us right in here. We can connect it to the Wi-Fi or Ethernet, or we can use a USB modem to connect it to cellular. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect it to Wi-Fi, and we just have to put in our password here. And so now our Wi-Fi is connected. We can just click back. Now obviously, if you're going to be live streaming, I highly recommend that you use the Ethernet. Now we can log into our OBSBOT, and this is really simple. You just put in an email address that you want to send a code to, and then you just click get the code. It'll just send something to that email address, and all you have to do is go ahead and put the code in here and click the checkbox. Click that and log in. Now you're going to tell it which way you want this to work. So we're going to choose landscape, but you can do portrait if you'd like. When everything's all done booting up, this is the screen that you're going to get. Now, there is, once you boot it up, a little bit of a walkthrough that shows you what all the stuff is, but I'm going to show you that, so I skipped it. So if we go up here, we have all of our settings. You can see you've got your account and security. You can create a show. You can see the show list. You can look and see what's in your album. This does have internal storage on it, about 50 megabytes. So you can go in there and see if you have anything in the internal storage. You can go into settings. There are all kinds of things here. You can configure your network. You can go into Bluetooth and connect headphones. You can use Bluetooth headphones. You can also connect Bluetooth microphones. which is really nice. It means you don't have to use the hard ports on the side. You can adjust the display brightness. You can change up the audio settings in here as well. You can set your monitoring device and your input delays and all that kind of stuff really easily. You can configure up your storage right here. So you can see it has 64 gigabytes, but 14 of that is obviously used for the OS that's on here. You can add an SD card obviously down here, take screenshots, and record to the SD card first if you'd like. You can change up your encoding. So there's two in here that you can modify. You could just select them and decide what you want your encoding to be, or you can add your own. Very easy. So if we add, you can see what this is. You can decide what source you want to encode, or whether it's the whole program, H.264, H.265, your resolution, your frame rate, your video bit rate, and your audio bit rate. And then there is advanced down here, so you can change your encode. You can go from VBR to CBR, all that kind of stuff. So you can change this up right here and select what you want. Then you can go in here and configure your stream. You decide where you want to stream to, and you just have to log in. It's really simple and straightforward. If you aren't going to YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, you can use an RTMP server, where you just put in the server name and your stream key, and you're all set up. And of course the NDI as well. You can set up your recordings here. You can decide where you want to record and all that kind of stuff. In Switch, you can decide on a default transition. There are a lot more transitions than that, but those are the ones you can set up here, and how long it takes to transition, all that kind of stuff you can set up right here. Here you can configure the LEDs. You have your USB Type-C. Here you can configure up your USB-C for your monitor, so you can go from the output to basically use this as a camera or something like that if you want. This allows you to set it up. You can also set it up for file transfer, so you can move your files from your computer to this very easily without having to use an SD card if you don't want to. You can set up replay right here, and if we do that, you can see there are all kinds of different types of replays that you can set up based on cameras and all kinds of different stuff. There's a lot of things in here that you can do with the replay. It's pretty cool. You can set up the remote control, and then of course you have your system settings where you can change your language, date and time. You can update your firmware. You can reset the device and all that kind of stuff. So that is basically everything that's in this menu up here. Down here you've got your audio. You can set it up for all of the different devices that you may have used, and we'll see that when we start to add some devices. You've got your graphics, so you can set up a whole collection of different graphics that you can use, from audio and video, overlays, that kind of stuff. This allows you to actually physically draw right on the screen, and if we click here, we can change the color and all kinds of other features. We can go ahead and sweep it up or delete it. All kinds of cool stuff. Right here, we can set up our quick replay. We can set different events and freeze the screen, switch settings. All that sort of stuff you can do with this little 3-dot menu right here. You can take a screenshot, you can record, and you can live stream. So that's basically the layout for this. It shows up in the top right that we are plugged in and that we are using Wi-Fi. So let's go ahead and create a show, and we can set our show name right here. We'll just call this default for now, and we can set our frame rate and our orientation and click create, and boom, we have a show. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and plug some stuff in. So let's start with an HDMI camera. We'll go ahead and plug it into HDMI 1, and I'll turn the camera on. I'm using the Tail Airs by OBSBOT. So these are PTZ cameras, and you can utilize all of the PTZ features that are on these cameras, and I'll show you that as well. Just take a couple seconds for the camera to boot up, and then what we can do is click this plus, go to HDMI 1. There we go. It's all set up, and so we've got a bunch of settings down here with the position, size. We can crop it up. We can set our transition. So we're going to set our in and out transitions to this fly, and we're going to set it to this one right here. so that you kind of see what it's doing. It'll automatically set the opposite transition to go the other way. We can adjust using this, the size and all that sort of stuff if we want. Crop it up. And we can go into PTZ control. Now, when it's HDMI, you can't change the PTZ, or you don't have control, but I'll show you how that works if you're using NDI. And there we go. So now we have the camera set up over here. I can set it to follow me right there. And if I click here, you can see it'll remove all of the UI off the screen so I can see what's actually being broadcast. Let's go ahead and plug in another camera. This one will be a USB webcam, and we're just going to plug it in here on the side. And I'm going to click the plus, and we're just going to go to webcam 1. And there we go. We could see the webcam right there. And, you know, this has all the same stuff. We can crop it. They have chroma key settings. We can set the transition. Click save. And now we could go back and forth between the two. If we hold and we go into edit, we may want to just go ahead and select this and expand it so it fills the entire screen. We'll click save. All right, so now we've got these two cameras in here. Let's add an NDI camera. These, once again, are the tail air OBSBOT cameras, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. All right, so now we have a tail air on. We're going to click the plus. We're going to go to our NDI camera, and we're going to go ahead and do the NDI search. It should find it right there, and boom. Everything is all set up here. We can adjust any of the settings we want. We're going to click save, and what we're going to do is hold down on here and go to PTZ, and we're just going to adjust this over so it finds us, and then we can turn it on so it will track us. And you can see that we can have presets in here as well, but there we go. So now we can switch to that, and we can see it working. We can have another one set up. So let's go in here, and we could do the NDI search again. And there we go. So now that's what we want. So we can save it. We can hold this down, select PTZ, and we can adjust this down. All right, so there we go. We've got that in there. And so now we can select any one of the cameras in here. Very, very cool. We can go in and select which audio we want to use. In this case, it's using our HDMI camera, so it's collecting audio from there. But we can adjust it. If we wanted it to use the USB audio, we can select that. We can turn the other audio off. We can adjust all of the audio sources like this, or we can add a separate microphone that is the one we use. We can scroll over here and see that the NDI doesn't pass any audio at all. So you don't have to really worry too much about that. Now let's go out here, and we're going to go into our graphics, and we're going to add some graphics. Let's start out with titles. Super simple. You just put your title text in there, save it, and we can put it up on our thing. Now if we wanted to edit it, we can just hold it down, click edit. We can select it, and we can modify it up in any way we see fit. Click save. We can go down here, and we can adjust the color, the size, the font. All of that stuff is really easy to adjust. So if we wanted it to be yellow, we can change it to yellow or blue or whatever. We can make it whatever we want. We can change the size, the font, the case. We can add transparency and shadow and the whole 9 yards to any of the text elements. We can also adjust the transition. So we want to just go ahead, and we're going to set this to fly. We're going to bring it in like that. We're going to click save. So now when we select it, you can see that our title comes on and off like that. What we're going to do is go ahead and bring an SD card in here, and we'll load this up so you can see what else we can do. But first, let's go and create lower thirds. So let's do this one right here. And there we go. We could save that. We could go to the subtitle, and we can adjust that as well and save that. And then we could put this wherever we want. We're going to put it down here in the bottom left, and we can adjust the size. and we're going to adjust the transition as well. We're going to go ahead and make this a fly. We're going to bring it in from the same on the left hand side. Click save, and now we can bring in our lower thirds, and you can see what it looks like right there. Very cool. What else do we have? We've got animated text, so this is pretty simple. It basically just animates the text. You can change the font, all that kind of stuff. We can set the transition as well, and we will set this transition to come in. Let's do a fly, and we'll bring it in on the other side. We'll put it all the way up here at the top. We could go and change the background for the text color as well if we wanted to. So there we go. And we can bring that in like that. And so now you see how that works. If we wanted to bring in something from our card, we can go to custom, and we just click here, and we can add a picture, and we can go to our SD card, and we'll bring in this overlay right here and click save. And so there you go. Now the way this works is this will all stack on top of one another. So if I wanted to bring in my lower thirds and then have the banner up top there, I can bring this in. It will sit over top of everything. Let's take a look. We've got lower thirds animated, digital clock, analog clock. You can set up a bullet list. Very cool. Social media stuff. You can have your social media, bring it on just like we did with the lower thirds. I like that. You can have a logo set up and bring that on anytime you want. Scoreboards, timers, stopwatches, and web pages. So we can go in and create a timer and just save that. And that could be something that comes up at the beginning of the stream when we don't have any camera selected or anything like that. And we can just start the timer. If you just click that, we can go into control and start it. You can set it up right there, and you're all set. So there we go. That'll be like a countdown timer. We can have that. Let's go ahead, and if you select something, you can just delete it as long as it's not active. And so we can do things like having an analog clock as well, and we can shrink it up, put it anywhere we want on the screen, and have transitions to bring it in and out. So let's say we want this transition in on the fly from that side, and there we go. So that's all set up the way we want it. We could change the date. We can add a second hand. We can add sound effects. We can do all kinds of very cool stuff. Let's go back in and edit that. So we can also change the title if we want, or remove the title. So you can see there is some text up at the top. We can change that up. You can pretty much do just about anything you want with this clock, and we can bring it in, and there it goes. You see it appear on the right hand side. So just about anything that you can do in OBS, you're going to be able to do with this. And all you have to do is click here to record, or click here to go live once you have that set up, and you're ready to go. This is absolutely a ridiculously amazing tool. And to get off of the graphics screen, you just click there, and you can come over here and change up any of the settings that you want. Move your camera around as you see fit, and you're all set. Very, very cool stuff. I love the fact that you can use it with the OBSBOT Tail Air PTZ cameras. Change everything up, have presets, so you can go in there, change the presets anytime you want. I think this is perfect if you were going to film a concert or a live sporting event or anything like that. You grab 3 of these tail airs and you use the NDI. You can put them out in the field anywhere you want. You can have this unit just on battery alone. You don't even have to have anything plugged in. You can use a Bluetooth microphone and just sit in the stands, control the cameras, and actually do commentary over top. And you can even mix in some of the audio from the actual sporting event or concert, if that's what it is, or whatever. Now, I use the tail air cameras and also a webcam in this, but you have to understand the cameras probably didn't look all that great because the lighting was set up just to make sure that you could visibly see the screen on the unit. So all the lighting for all the cameras and everything was really bad. It was actually really dark. So the fact that you could see much at all is kind of surprising. Like I said, the lighting was all set up so that we could see the screen on the actual OBSBOT Talent. I can assure you that the OBSBOT Tail Air cameras have absolutely amazing optics and they look fantastic in regular lighting. I work really hard to try to create content that I think you're going to enjoy. And sometimes I hit and sometimes I miss, but it's really hard to know for sure. And that's where you can really help me out. If you're enjoying this video, do me a favor and leave me a thumbs up. And if it's not your cup of tea, don't hesitate to leave it a thumbs down. Now, if every single person watching this video leaves a thumbs up or a thumbs down right now, I'll know whether this is the kind of content that you want to see. So thumbs up, thumbs down right now. Thank you for the help. Let's get back to the video. How much is the OBSBOT Talent? Well, it's about $200, less than the YOLO box at $1,099. It's a pretty good deal for an all-inclusive unit that actually has storage space right on board. And it has so many features that you're not even going to believe it. If you already own the OBSBOT cameras, this is the perfect pairing. But even if you don't, this is absolutely an amazing tool for remote live streaming. Like I said, there is a link down below in the description so you can check it out. You never know when it's going to go on sale either. Now, are there features that you want me to explore further on the OBSBOT Talent? I can definitely tell you that the replay feature is something that probably deserves its own video. But if there's anything like that, let me know down in the comments. And if you want to know more about the amazing OBSBOT Tail Air cameras that I used in this video, well, you could check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.